Hello, this is Phil Goss, Dr. Phil Goss. I am the Director of Counselling and Psychotherapy Programs at the University of Warwick within the Centre for Lifelong Learning. And it's my pleasure to be able to speak to you today just to give you a brief overview of the new programme that we're launching in the autumn, the BA in Counselling and Psychotherapeutic Relationship. I teach on a range of programmes within the department. I'm planning to teach on the new programme with colleagues in the team. We've got a very experienced and creative team of practitioners. In other words, people who are in counselling, who do their own counselling practice with clients or psychotherapy practice, but are also very experienced teachers on programmes such as this. I also currently teach on both our master's programme and our current undergraduate programme. We decided that when looking at our current undergraduate programme, our person-centred programme, that although it was a very good programme, we needed to update the content and orientation of the programme, not to lose the person-centred base, but to enhance it with other approaches that would help students, but potentially yourself, if you apply, you're up at the place and you come on the course, to get a fuller range of skills and relational standpoints from which you can help the growing and complex range of mental health needs that are currently and going forward are going to continue to present in this challenging environment of the 21st century world. It's great that mental health is now recognised as extremely important. What it means for us as professionals is that we need to be ready to gear up our approach to be able to flex and meet a range, the complex range of needs that are out there. So we just pulled back a bit from the person-centred, but it's still there. But the type of counselling and the psychotherapeutic relationship for the new BA reflects what I've been saying, which is the way in which we think we can now offer a person-centred base, which you get year one, alongside one or two other things that are introduced around the idea of integration, which is with a very relational focus, that it's about being able to incorporate ways of working and ways of being as you learn across the 4 years, that, as I say, will give you a deep and full range of ways of responding to different individual client needs. So just to say that the new programme has 4 strands: theory, practice, research, and also personal and professional development. So in terms of the theory, I think I've already mentioned that we start with the person-centred base. We also introduce the thinking and work of John Heron, who offers a broader way of thinking about different stances we can take in the therapeutic relationship, give us more options, as I say. As the first year moves into the second year, we're also looking at other ways of working from compassion-focused approaches, which can be a very effective short-term way of thinking about relationship and helping people notice what is important to them, through to psychodynamic approaches which help us understand the way that influences from our past, as well as our unconscious influences in the present, can impact on our health and happiness, really, and for us as therapists to understand how to work with that in a facilitative and dynamic way. But that also broadens out in terms of, for example, including Jungian aspects on, say, dream work, for example, but that's later on in sort of year 2, year 3, as we go further into the course. We also pull in broader humanistic approaches, such as some of the great ideas that the Gestalt approach can offer, as well as post-Rogers, which basically some of the person-centered ideas that were very creatively introduced after Rogers sort of set up the person-centered approach, what's known as the tribes of the person-centered approach. So this includes sort of experiential, pre-therapy, creative therapies, and so on. All of that will come in across the course, and as I say, give you a strong range of tools to draw on, approaches to draw on, and you'll be helped if you're on the course to embed your own integration of the approaches as you work through the course towards completion. That leads on to the second strand, which is practice and the real centrality of practice. If a student is deemed as fit to practice by the end of year one, after having done observed practice with fellow students on campus, they can begin placement at the beginning of year two. In terms of finding placements, we think it's important that students are given freedom and the challenge to find placements for themselves to enhance their professional awareness and development, following on from a work-based learning placement that is done in the first year, 30 hours. If that proves challenging to find a placement, we have a database of placement settings that we know are good and we've used before, so we can help you. We just think it's good for the development of professional knowledge and skills to try and find something that suits you from the off, really. But as I say, there is backup going forward. So the practice strand runs right through the course. So there'll be practice on campus all the way through the course. Self-evaluation, observation, feedback, tutors and peers, use of video, digital recording, all sorts of ways in which you can be helped to critically reflect on your practice and strengthen it as you go through. Students need to attain 100 hours minimum counselling, properly supervised. You need to find a supervisor and will help you with that. Supervised practice on placement across the course, a minimum of 100 hours, gives you plenty of time, the 4 years, to be able to do that. From experience, we find that on our current course, people are comfortably able to manage that, even if they have 1 or 2 full starts. Sometimes it means getting a second placement, but that in the end is a good thing because it broadens experience of the field and client work. So that fits with the BACP requirement, the 100 hours. So to move towards your securing of registration and then perhaps further down the line, the further stages of accreditation of BACP, but certainly the registration to practice, the 100 hours is the minimum required. The third strand is research, which we think is very important. It's getting more and more important in the field. You learn, excuse me, the sort of strengthening data evidence base that there is for the effectiveness and value of relational and integration and integrative approaches to therapy, as well as working towards completing your own research dissertation. And that can be on a subject that's that you feel passionately about, as long as it relates to counselling and psychotherapy. It might involve interviewing people, it might involve questionnaires, searching the literature, pulling a research project together. It's hard work, but it can be really rewarding, and you can have an impact on practice and policy in the field. So it's a very worthwhile strand of the course. The fourth strand is more to do with personal and professional development. Here you're learning about the frameworks that are crucial to know about in the field. For example, the BACP ethical framework and other ethical frameworks. Learning about the issues around professional well-being, taking care of ourselves, and crucially how we might deal with clients who are really struggling with their own mental health, and possibly safeguarding that side of things. There's a lot to learn about in that area, but it's also very interesting. In that regard, there's quite an emphasis in the programme on group work, and that applies in all the strands I'm talking about here. So as well as formal teaching input, lectures and so on, seminars where we ask you to do some reading, come back and talk about a very interesting article, whatever it happens to be, the following week. There are group work activities that range from personal development groups or through to thematically based discussion groups, through to the practice groups. I mentioned about practice on campus, and developmental opportunities to share your learning with other students as you go through. It is a very demanding course. Some people say that although it says part-time, when you get into the thick of it, it can feel almost like full-time, although people do manage to hold other responsibilities very well as they go through the course. So, for example, family and work requirements. So it is manageable, just to give you that message. And there are very good career prospects at the end, although the field is not a very structured field, and there's a degree to which people need to kind of build their career in the best way they can. There are plenty of there are growing opportunities in both statutory and voluntary or third sector settings, community-based settings, as well as the longer-term prospect of building up a private practice when a student is, or rather a graduate is ready to do so. So there's plenty to look forward to on the programme. I hope what I've said to you is of interest to you, and perhaps we'll see you soon and look forward maybe to getting your application. But do get in touch if you have any specific queries. My email address is p.goss, lowercase, @warwick.ac.uk, or you can contact admissions and we'll respond to any queries that you have. Good to speak to you. Thanks for listening, and take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.